Hello, welcome to Business Insight today. This is clip number 6, and I'll just give you a little background. In the previous clip, um, I had recognized that the human mind is the greatest creator endowed womb for problem solving. In other words, in my journey of solving personal problems which were associated with my transition from one employment to another employment, I came to recognize that the mind was a creator endowed resource to me for generating solutions to the kind of problems, in fact, any problem that I would encounter. The mind was the generator of solutions. Prior to that, uh, and I am John Williamson, and I have been recounting my journey in 2013 when I moved on from a job where I was employed for 8.5 years to a period during a transitional period where I wasn't in employment or I didn't have employment income coming in. I had received prospects of a job offer. I had actually done some temping work in my role as a nurse, and I was still finding my foot, finding my bearings, sorry. So again, during this period, I wasn't very confident because I was returning to direct clinical practice, a role that I had not been directly engaged in for about 8.5 years. So I was aware that at least in the month of November and nearly in the month of December 2013, my outgoings, primarily mortgage payments, my outgoings consisting primarily of my mortgage payments, were significantly higher than any savings I had, any income I had. So to fight off the fear, the panic that was descending on me, the habitual worry that was affecting me. Because for the first time, I didn't have what I had recognized for years as my primary resource for solving problems, and that is my income from my previous employer. For the first time, I was on my own, and I wasn't sure how to navigate that. In that period, I came to recognize that if I move beyond my fear, if I confronted those fear, and a lot of that fear was irrational fear, it wasn't healthy fear, but if I confronted the fear and moved beyond the fear barrier, and I thought rationally, and rational thinking is not necessarily the absence of fear, but it is a redirection of the fear. It is using that fear as fuel for change, as fuel, as passion to motivate change. Change to the degree that would allow me to take the necessary actions, corresponding actions, the corrective actions, which would prevent those nightmare situations from becoming reality. I hope I'm making sense here to you, that is. I can follow my own logic. So here I have recognized the mind for what it's supposed to be doing. It's designed for problem solving. Now, if the mind is the primary resource, then the mind must have certain accessories which would facilitate the function of the mind, the thinking function. When the mind is engaged in problem solving, what are some of the accessories that would um, help the mind fulfill its purpose. And one of those accessories, the key accessory for the mind, is the accessory of quality time. And I'm not just talking about 24 hours quantity time, I am talking about quality time. And what do I mean by quality time as an accessory of the mind? Quality time as an accessory of the mind is the times within your any given 24-hour period where you are free from distractions, where you are most focused, and you are likely to be most productive. This was an observation I made when I was in my previous employment. This is in 20 prior to 2013. I noticed when I came to the office that I was more equipped to tackle certain uh, assignments within the spectrum of my job assignments. I was equipped to tackle certain assignments during certain periods of the day. For example, I found out that if I did there was a checklist which involved registration of practitioners. I was able to do them very quickly. First, if I applied myself to it as soon as I came to the office at 8 o'clock. And then it was about 10 o'clock, that was a good time for following up on my previous interview reports. I noticed, for example, that if I started with the interview report, I wasn't as alert, I wasn't as intense, I wasn't as focused enough. And so my productivity, or the quality or the quantity, the output of what I did within the 2 hour period between 8 in the morning and 10 in the morning was not as much. So different tasks, different jobs, different situations seem to have certain times in the day that they were suitable for. I hope you got the gist, the drift of what I'm saying. So quality time involves studying your environment, because that is where the distractions come from, the external environment, but also studying your internal environment. So, for example, there are times in the day when there's been an incident, or you've had a conversation which could be a basis for distraction. You're likely to be distracted by probably the best time for certain tasks which involve specific detail entry of figures. The best time is not after such a conversation. Maybe the best time for focus activities that require focus, maybe the best time is before you've had any interruptions. Maybe so. Quality time as an accessory. Quality time can be enhanced when you have moved away from one geographical location to the other. A lot of people find that when they are on holiday abroad, they are able to focus on certain things. Again, the reverse is also possible. Accessories to the mind. We'll be continuing that in my next clip. Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you. See you soon.